Evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 22 of Irish Whiskies Magazine's presentation of Words on Whiskey. Thank you all very much for joining us. It's a nice, fresh, dark, cold evening out of Dublin tonight. I hope you're all keeping safe and well and looking after one another. So we've an interesting show. We've got Mareike Spitzer from Irish Whiskies out of Germany this evening, and we also have another guest, Paul Moynihan from the Vintners Federation of Ireland. But so we'll just kick off and maybe look at the news for this evening or for this week. So a relatively quiet week, but still, as always, things going on always. So okay, so the big news out of Dingle Distilleries, they've announced a cask program called Descendants, and they are doing 100 casks for release prior to the end of the year, and prices starting at a quite steep 10k, and then add your VAT and bottlings and costs on top of that. But if you're looking for something special, that might be a great introduction into Irish whiskey. And they have a history there. They're there 7 years, so you can buy into the program for 8 years or up to 21 years. You have your choice of finish there in the cask, so you can finish in Oloroso, port, sherry, and one other bourbon casks. And I think the choice of sherry is Oloroso or PX. So Graham Gould, their master distiller there, will be overseeing the production of that. They only produce 4 casks a day, so they are not a massive operation, but they've certainly built up a big name for themselves, and hopefully that will help their operation going as well for the next years. As well as that, there is Craft Cocktails, a new company formed by guys at 1661, and they've released a series of pre-made cocktails. You can see here the 6 different ones. They're the miniatures, and here are the larger bottles. And the miniatures start at €12.50 each, and the larger ones I think are €35. I think you can get the smaller 6 of the smaller ones for €75. So look, if you're looking for a gift, or if you're looking to get into the cocktail festive spirit, it's great to support local Irish businesses and Irish businesses. And if you can, do look at craftcocktails.ie for more information. Other than that, obviously the COVID is the big news at the moment. It's still, pubs are only completed 1 week of level 5 lockdown, and of course that's a huge burden for the pub trade and hospitality. And look, we're delighted to have Paul Moynihan join us. Paul Moynihan is the incoming president of the Vintners Federation of Ireland. So let's welcome in Paul.
Good evening.
Paul, good evening. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us.
No problem.
Well, I suppose firstly you could talk about maybe what your role is as chairman of the Vintners Federation and who you represent.
Yeah, the Vintners Federation of Ireland represent all publicans outside of the Dublin greater area. We represented up to maybe 3,800 publicans outside Dublin, and I'm incoming president. So we'd have a full-time staff, and I'd be kind of representing as a publican, just coming in as the president shortly.
Yeah, and you're based down in County Wicklow, Moynihan's Bar yourself. So you're a publican.
Yeah, I'm in a village pub. It's a traditional non-food pub. It's what basically an awful lot of our members in the VFI would represent, would be like me, in that we'd be spread out throughout the country in small areas, and we'd be seen kind of as a very important part of the community in our areas.
Yeah, of course. And what is the current state of play then with the pubs? I mean, what's the impact that you're seeing? And obviously, you see this impact firsthand, being a publican yourself.
Yeah, so basically, as probably most people know, we were closed just coming up to St. Patrick's Day on the 15th of April, June. Then it went, every time the date kept being pushed back, and then in the end, we got open on the 22nd of September, which is a long time, over 6 months. So as that happened, then we'd open under strict guidelines inside that our capacity was down to about 50% of what we were beforehand. And then that lasted basically 2 weeks. And then our customers were pushed outside, that we could only serve 15 people outside our pub. So I kept that going because I thought it was important in the area I am to try and keep a little bit of good, I don't know, faith or good feeling in the area that we're trying to offer something to our community. It's not for the money you'd be making out of them, but it gets me out of the house too, of course. But that lasted 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks as well. So now from last week, we're closed down completely again for 6 weeks. Yeah. So again, we're back. Nobody knows what's happening. We're very disappointed to be closed. We thought as an industry we did everything we've been asked to, and there's been no major spread of the virus in the pubs that have been very strictly been adhered to, or the guidelines been adhered to. So we couldn't see where the problem was.
Yeah, is it a question of the odd rogue pub not following guidelines and bringing it down for the rest, or is it not that case?
Yeah, I suppose, Sergio, say their guidelines are there for everybody to follow it, but if publicans aren't following it, I thought that the laws were there to kind of to stop that. Like, and if they were used and adhered to, I think we could be very successful in what we're doing. But it has to be said, I think the Garda Síochána and everybody has said it. I think up to vast majority, well over 95% of publicans are trying their best in this situation.
Yeah. What's the sense of the pubs that will not be opening? Have you any kind of figures as to the long-term effects? Are there pubs already that are doomed not to open?
Yeah, I'm sure, Sergio, listen, there's no industry that can close down for so long without taking a hit for some people. Like, but again, I think we'd have to be open for a little while. We were only open for a month as such, and the Dublin publicans weren't allowed open at all. The traditional pubs in Dublin weren't allowed open at all. So it was too early to make a call on where publicans stood. There were still people at that time even hadn't opened. They were waiting to see what way it went, because with the 50% capacity of pubs, some pubs are very small with long counters. The counters weren't being able to be used, so it wasn't really viable for them to use them to get open anyway. So they had to wait after they got open in a better fashion.
Yeah. In terms of what the government has done, have they done sufficient? I know there was there's some help there in the budget there towards publicans. Have they gone far enough to be able to help the industry survive?
Yeah, we've been screaming and shouting for a long time, looking for help, because I say we were the longest industry in Ireland that had been kept closed, and it kind of fallen on deaf ears for a long time. But this budget, that was 2 weeks ago, they did offer us a little bit of hope for businesses that were going to be closed. Listen, we want to get open. We want to do what we do, as I said, but it is a little bit of a help. But Sergio, listen, at the end of the day, we're business people, and I say, even for our own sanity and for the sanity of all the people around our areas, we want to get open. We want to have a chat again and talk to our customers. Yeah,
I mean, especially in rural areas, of course, the pub is such a cornerstone of Irish life and the social scene. It's a huge burden, not just to ourselves, obviously that's a huge thing, but also to the locals that would socialise there.
Yeah, I saw it reopened after so long, Sergio, that the people were nervous starting with, but when they saw the effort that went into my own pub and lots and lots of pubs around the country, that we went to try and make things both hospitable and safe, and really the effort was made, and the amount of compliments that I got personally, and my wife and my staff here got from the efforts that we put in was great to see, and the response from the locals were good too. Like there was an appetite to come back to the pubs, so that was very, very good for us to see. But when we're stuck out, when we're put out to serve 15 people outdoors, that got a little bit awkward in that, like, you were trying to set up booking systems and trying to kind of give people 2 hours at their tables and stuff, and that really got awkward. And we tried our best, but we still felt it was important to try and keep something going, because, as I said, you mentioned at the start of your broadcast there, we're in the winter now. It's going to be dark at 5 o'clock in the evening, so we're going to trying to do something for people that are on their own maybe, and even if they're not on their own, they might be lonely and they have to try and get out and socialise and have a chat somewhere along the line.
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about earlier was the government aren't going to be looking at the situation again in terms of even looking at reopening the bars again for another 3 weeks at least. So there's no chance of opening before then, no?
Well, they say they're going to look at it, in another 3 weeks. So it all depends on the number, Sergius, but things would have to improve immensely for that to happen. But all I can say from our point of view is that whatever has been asked of us, we've tried to do. Like, and I say, and if there have been problems, deal with the individual problems. Don't try to keep the whole industry closed. Yeah. But I think this has got around Europe. This has got to a different stage now. So I think probably the right decision was made to close the place down again. It's all industries that have been closed, not just pubs this time. But I think when we do reopen, I think it's very important to allow pubs to open with the rest of industries, not just to keep us closed again.
Yeah, even those without restaurants and just wet bars only.
Yeah, like we're doing the very same. Our criteria to reopen is the very same as for restaurants. So I can't see why they would not allow us to open. So I thought that was a mistake back in July when they opened gastro pubs and restaurants and kept closed traditional pubs, and it actually put pressure on the gastro pubs in that they weren't able to take the pressure of the crowds that wanted to get to them, because there is an appetite to get back. Like people want to social, especially the Irish are very social people. They want to get out and have a chat, and if there's football, they want to watch it. So it's very important, I think, to open all the industry together.
Yeah. Listen, on the BFI side, what's the mission statement, if you like, of the BFI, and does it differ in any way to the local vintners association, who are primarily representing Dublin?
The LVA you're talking about, No, we'd be singing off the same hymn sheet, really, because as I say, even worse for the Dublin publicans, the traditional pubs haven't been allowed open at all. So we're trying to just get open, and as long as we can follow the guidelines by the World Health Organization, and even the guidelines they asked us to follow are a little bit more stringent than that. And we've been stressing all along that we're able to do it. And I think the big thing is we look for help. We need help. Of course, we're the longest industry closed. We're closed, but all industry is under pressure now. I think the whole economy of Europe and probably further is under pressure now. So it's very important to try and get everybody going. But we've got to do it in a safe way. We've got to try and go together on this. We need our customers. We need all publicans. We need all the health bodies to come together on this and try and work together on it, because there's no point in, you can't beat people with a stick. You got to try and bring people with you on all these guidelines that have been asked, and sooner or later it's going to have to open up. Now, touch wood, of course, we hope this virus is going to disappear and there's going to be a vaccine shortly, and maybe we can get back to some sort of normality. But
because it's about protecting your staff as much as the customers as well, of course. So
and I've seen throughout. I've talked to many publicans, Sergius, and that they've been open as gastro pubs, and they've had no problems throughout the year. Since they were open, I think the start of July. They've seen very little problems, and if there has been an individual problem, it has been sorted directly straight away, and there's been no kind of spread. I think it's been very successful, and we'd be hopeful that we could do it again. But I suppose we have to be allowed to get into that position to open again and do it. Like, especially in a village like mine, it's very easy to track and trace in my area, because I'd have, especially in the winter time, maybe 100% locals I'd have in my pub. And I said, and everybody wants to look after each other, so they're going to try their best to do what they're supposed to do, so to keep us open. Like, nobody wants all industry to be closed down. They want to be able to get out and socialize again. So, like, everybody's trying their best, I think, and will going forward try their best.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you could almost argue that there were more cases of house parties than there were, if any, in pubs, So
we've been shouting that message for a long time, and there's been she-beans, which are kind of, if nobody, they'd be kind of where you'd set up a kind of a bar in your shed or something without any license or any. I'd say the guidelines there wouldn't be looked at all. So, like, they're really what we would see as the problem areas. Like, and I say, if you got people back into controlled areas to enjoy themselves, we'd feel that it'd be actually more successful than what is happening with everything closed down, with the wet pubs closed down.
Yeah. Do you have a figure of how many people are involved in the business in terms of numbers, and how many have been made redundant or furloughed?
We've no numbers of redundancies yet, of course, because all pubs now at the moment, and all hotels, all restaurants are closed again. So but we would have 60,000 direct staff, 60,000 in the pub industry, like, and I think in the whole hospitality industry, there's heading for 250,000.
Yeah, huge. Well, look, I know Christmas is a very busy period for you. Let's hope that everything gets resolved and you're back in business, and we can go in and sit down and have a chat with our friends and have
Yeah.
a few drams and enjoy ourselves. So.
Yeah, it's very important to try and get back, and I'd say it's a family time, so we'd have some sort of normality back then. But of course, we've got to cross our fingers on that one and hope for the best. It's not going to be easy.
Well, look, thank you very much for joining us. I'd love to have you on the show again, actually, Paul, just to discuss what your role is and what VFI do for the people out there in the pub trade. So maybe you'll join us on a later date for a longer chat.
Okay. And cheers to you and your listeners.
Launch it. Thank you very much. Take care. Well, there you go. I mean, you can't hear it from a more close to the ground source than from Paul there. So hopefully we're going to see better days. And of course, let's go out and enjoy a drink responsibly when we get the chance. Okay, so our main guest for this evening, I mentioned, is Mareike Spitzer from Germany. So let's bring in Mareike, and good evening.
Hello, everybody.
Well, yes, we'll keep this in English, because your English is better than my German, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So I will do my best.
Yeah. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah. Strange times. I'm not sure of the current situation now in Germany, what it's like there.
Lockdown Monday is confirmed, and very bad situation. So all restaurants will be closed again, and so it just came up this afternoon, and so we will go also to the second lockdown.
Yeah. Does Germany have the same? I mean, obviously you're a visitor here, and we've met a few times when you've been over here. Germany doesn't have the same pub culture, certainly, as Ireland, but it's still an important employer.
We do not really have a pub culture, but we have pubs, and we have lots of local restaurants then where the people go and also have a beer or sit down together. And so this will not be possible, I think, till the end of November.
Yeah. Okay. So that's having obviously a huge effect on yourself. You would have been in Ireland at least 2 or 3 times, I'm sure, in the last 6 months. You're here all the time.
I had lots of plans for the summer. I wanted to do some whiskeys, and I wanted to choose some casks by myself in the distilleries. So it wasn't possible. I got samples shipped over to Germany, and I choose from. But of course, it would be great if I could have been over there and did it by myself.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a big a hassle as well for you in terms of the business that you have, or has it benefited from COVID? So I don't know if it's like here where off licenses have actually done quite well through COVID.
Yeah, but what I'm totally missing is all the trade shows and the tastings, and so I did lots of that during the year normally.
Yeah.
So everything can't happen.
Yeah.
Irish whiskey is still a product which has to be tasted. So all the new ones which are behind me, they need to be tasted from the consumers, and this is definitely not possible. That's why the Irish Whiskey Weekend will be happening.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that now. That should be, I'm sure that must be the first of its type from Germany anyway, a virtual whiskey tasting.
Yeah. It's such a big virtual tasting with Irish product. I've never been there.
Yeah. What in Germany are you based in, Mareike? Is it Ronstadt or Rans? I pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, it's a very, very small village. It's near Frankfurt, so about 50 kilometers from Frankfurt away.
Yeah. And how did you get into this business? So you run irishwhiskies.de website, which is selling products, and then you have the import and distribution side. How did you get involved in it, and where did the idea come around, and when did it start?
I started the business in 2011. Okay. The idea arises in about 2009, 2010. So preparation really started in 2010. And I was on the trade show and figured out that there is nearly no Irish whiskey in Germany. So 10 years ago. And I thought this whole whiskey culture was very interesting, because you are not drinking whiskey for getting drunk. You're drinking whiskey for talking about the history, talking about the distillery. So lots around the product, and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And on this trade show, I tried the Jameson Gold and was like, wow, very good product. Whiskey could be very nice, because you have to know, I did not really drink alcohol before I started this business. So
okay.
yeah, so no, not a wine or beer or anything.
Yeah.
So I tasted this and I was like, wow, very good product. And then I started to research what Irish whiskeys are there, and figured out that no one in Germany is covering Irish whiskey really good.
Yeah.
So the idea arises that I do it, and it was like, okay, there is no one, I will do it. So yeah, and then I started to search which whiskeys I could get in Germany, and opened the website with 36 different Irish whiskeys, so very small.
Yeah, compared to where we are now. I mean, yeah.
But these were the whiskeys I got, and about 1.5, 2 years later, I brought out my first single cask bottling. It was the first single cask from Teeling which was ever released.
Yeah.
So that was
somewhere.
really
I have that. I have that somewhere. I'm pretty sure I ordered it from you
yeah,
long time ago now.
Yeah, it was an 11-year-old single malt bourbon cask, and still today I say that was a very, very good whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then this was a point where then I started to import and distribute whiskey here in Germany also.
Yeah. I mean, how do you go from not having any business and then managing to convince the distilleries and the producers to actually run with you and be the distributor for them in Germany?
Lots of hard work, lots
Yeah.
of conversation, lots of networking, visiting the distilleries, and Ireland is an island, so everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really. So
I mean, did you have a love affair with Ireland before you started, or
yes.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Ireland when I was 17.
Right.
I was there with a friend, and we did a holiday, and this was the time where I said, okay, Ireland is very nice and I really like it.
Yeah.
So I'm very sad that I couldn't be over this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the big things that you do is you do visit all these distilleries, and you, it's not just the whiskey. I mean, you are interested in the history of Irish whiskey as well, and you do a great job of promoting Irish whiskey as a brand in Germany, not just specifically your products. It is a big challenge. I mean, what is the, what's the standing of Irish whiskey within Germany?
It's not very easy.
Yeah.
Still, Scotch is the first one.
Yeah.
Because so when you have this really whiskey nerds, whiskey drinkers, and they normally prefer heavy peated whiskey with lots of cask finish. So this is not really Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
And
or it wasn't. It's changing.
Yeah, it's changing now, yes. But often they think it's very smooth, it's vanilla, it's fruity. That is an Irish whiskey. That's in the mind of the people.
Sure.
And so my job is to tell the people we have cask strength whiskey, we have single cask bottlings, we have great whiskeys with great finishes. We have whiskeys, they are not smooth, they are very complex. So it's lots about education and talking about about the whole industry, because I do not talk about specific whiskeys then.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that a challenge? I mean, now that you don't have a route to go to trade shows and things, what's your route to pass that message on to people?
Yeah, I do also live streams on my channel.
What's your channel, just in case people aren't aware of it?
Yeah, it's Irish Whiskies.
Irish Whiskies.
So the S at the end, it's very important.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then of course the Irish Whiskey Weekend now. This is one way I would like to go, because we have done some very special tasting kits with products you cannot really taste normally. and they are on a very good price point. So this is also a way now. I want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's your logo. I suppose as well as supporting our Irish whiskey liquid, you've been supporting Irish whiskey. I mean, you've helped us certainly establish a presence in Germany, and I know Glass you've been a big supporter of as well. So it's the whole Irish whiskey sector. So, but these are the brands that you're going to be. Are these all the brands that you're going to be presenting on the whiskey weekend?
Yeah.
So the whiskey weekend is 20th and 21st of November, is it?
No, 21st and 22nd of November.
Okay, well, better early than late.
Sunday. So drinking weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be a big weekend. So you have I think, let me share your schedule here because we have that up on and I'll see if I can share that now with our readers. So I think the website is irish-whiskies.de is where you're selling, but where you're actually doing the show from is a different address. So let me get that up. So this is your website here, the irishwhiskies.de, but you've got your masterclasses here for the weekend. Now, irish-whiskey-weekend.de.
It's Wochenende. So weekend, it's the English word. German word is Wochenende.
Okay, all right. Well, that's why we're doing this in English and not in German. But brilliant. Well, look, I can see there's a big schedule there. I think you had mentioned there were going to be 11 events, but I actually see more. So, but these are the brands that you represent. So you've got Teeling, Blacks, Clonakilty, Two Stacks, Pierce. Your own brand here, which we'll come and talk about, Liberator, Connacht, JJ Corrie, Powerskirt, and Cologne.
Yeah.
Is that your entire portfolio?
We have some more in our portfolio. We have lots of gins also. But at this weekend, we had the people, we said to the distilleries that in the tasting kit has to be new make. So this was one of the tasks. And so these are all the people who were able to give us also new make, because I think that's very special because normally you can't taste it.
Yeah. What do you make of this resurgence of Irish whiskey? The huge growth that's happened, and what do Germany make of it?
How do you mean that?
I mean, you could never have foreseen that the growth was going to be quite as rapid as it has been. Has it taken you by surprise, and do you think it's a good thing?
Definitely, it's a good thing. I was not really surprised because I'm always very focused on the market and look what's happening in Ireland. So it was not a surprise, but I'm very happy that the distilleries are developing as good as they are doing at the moment. And of course, I hope that all can be up and running very fast again.
We all hope that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that the distilleries that you distribute for would be on the small to medium size rather than the big players?
Yeah, I think so.
And is that because the others are so well established, they have the means to be able to reach market, and now you're getting to the point where you can bring the newer entrants and the smaller ones into the market?
Yeah, I think the big players, they have already their distributing channels, and most times they are also owned by the distributions. Right. So, and I think the smaller to middle ones are much more interesting than the big ones, than the ones we all know, because they are the small and middle ones are much more flexible, and you can do much more very interesting products.
Yeah.
So,
but also they bring brands that a lot of drinkers wouldn't be necessarily aware of. So your role is really to promote all of them. Is there ever a conflict between promoting one brand over another? Do you ever get into that situation, and how do you keep it even?
I do my best to promote all as good as I can.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, sometimes you do a post more from this distillery because there are some more interesting topics at the moment than at the other ones. But when I do a trade show, I present them all, and I present them all in the same way. And it's when you're going to another distributor with some mixed portfolio. So they have Scotch whiskey, American, Irish whiskey. Most times the Scotch whiskeys are in the front, and the Irish ones are standing just anywhere behind. So they are not really focused on that. So, and the brands I distribute, I like them all really much. And I think it's very important that you stand behind every brand you are distributing and that you like the work they are doing. Otherwise, I couldn't do it in the way I do it.
Yeah, so it's important for you to have a personal relationship with the brands.
Yeah.
I mean, just one thing I wanted to touch on in terms of visitors to Ireland. Germans are a very significant part of the Irish whiskey tourism industry, and you can see here Germany has 10%, but I mean it's growing very quickly. Is that growth matching the sales of Irish whiskey in Germany? Is it growing relatively fast?
I think the sales are getting up, yes. But it's still, for the newer brands, you really have to educate the people about them, because Germany is a country where the people want to know what they are drinking.
Yeah.
So when there is, lots of them are really educated, so they know that, let's say, a Spate & Bushel 14 years is not from the Connacht distillery.
Yeah.
So they want to know where the liquid is from. They want to know how long it was finished. They want to know exactly the ABV. They want to know if there's color added. So I think the German market is very, very different from the US.
Yeah.
And I think also from the Irish market.
And what do they tend to be drinking at the entry level, or do they move up to premium as well? What kind of or is it across the board?
Yeah, I think you have people in every price range.
Yeah.
But I think most people are drinking between 40 and 60, 70 euros.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, certainly one of the big markets for Irish exports, Germany, in terms of the whiskey, and it has been growing steadily over the last few years. But I mean, it must be a challenging job for you to inform the end drinker, end customer of the product.
Yeah.
Are there any challenges with getting transparency on what Irish whiskey is?
Yeah, definitely. It's changing. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But as you know, when you buy a Clonakilty distillery whiskey, there is not a liquid from Clonakilty in it, or or when you buy a Falcallan whiskey, it's not at the moment not the Power Scott liquid in it. Yeah. And they all are very transparent about that topic now. But in the mind of the people is always that about 5 years ago, there was not this real big transparency.
Sure.
And so now they are saying, okay, but that's not the distillery liquid. And then I say, yes, it's not. But they have chosen excellent cask. They made a very good finish. They know what they are doing. So the education has changed.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm sure that's going to really open up the market when we actually see finished product from these distilleries as well.
Definitely. Yes.
I mean, the other big thing in Germany is they do want to know what's in the bottle. And I think by law, the label has to say whether there's coloring or not in on the label. Yeah. I think that's the only difference in terms of labeling that I'm aware of. And there may be something else, but...
No, nothing else. Just the coloring has to be on the label.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surely the market will surely grow once all that opens up a bit more, and you have a bigger selection as well. But so you decided to start. Here's the Irish Whiskey Weekend logo, if you like. What was the motivation for starting, and what went into? I mean, I know from talking to other people organizing events, it's a large amount of work. But from your side, what are the logistics like?
Oh, it's crazy at the moment. On Friday, I will fill all the bottles. So the
Okay.
miniatures. I rent a kitchen for that so that
Or-
we can do it there. And the logistics are, wow, it's such a lot of work.
Yeah.
When I decided to do that in July, I
Yeah.
wouldn't expect that it's so much work, so much logistics, so much what I have to think about. But I like to do it. It's fun
Yeah.
to do it. Sometimes it's no fun when
Yeah.
things do not end up as you expected or as you wanted to have them.
Yeah.
But I think it's the best opportunity you can have to taste the new products this year.
Yeah. I think it's so important with Irish whiskey to actually get people to taste it. So I mean, once you get them to taste it, I think that's half the battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Half the battle done. But yeah, I don't envy you filling the miniatures. I think after the first 100, you might start getting a little bit bored of doing it. But
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. So what
Yeah.
is it? What's in the packs then? So I presume they're all different. You're doing packs,
Yeah.
11 different packs that people can take from the website. And the other important thing is it's not limited to Germany. So you're
No.
distributing all over Europe. A few difficulties you were mentioning with distributing to England. You're found a way to get into the north. And
I will find a way to get it to Northern Ireland. That's not the problem. But unfortunately, we can't send to the UK. But other European countries, that's no problem.
okay.
We would be delighted when it will be international. Yes. So in the pack are 4 samples. Each sample is 5 cl.
Okay.
And also a Tuat class, which is branded with the logo of the weekend.
Very nice.
And every pack has 2 standard bottlings, 1 special bottling, and new make.
Okay. Okay. And what's the price for that, Mareike?
It's 35.90 euro.
35. And then I suppose if somebody needs to get it shipped, then there's a shipping charge, obviously, with
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So that's good value for what you're getting. And then the master classes. So you have the master classes. If you buy 1 box, you can attend all of the master classes. Am I right?
Yes, that's right.
Very good. And what else have you lined up for the weekend?
Yeah, so there are 15 minutes breaks after each tasting slot.
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes just 10 minutes when it will take a bit longer.
Yeah.
And we will fill them with folk music. So we have 3 people doing music for us. We have Thorsten. He joins me often on live streams, and I'm very delighted that he will play live during the weekend.
Very good.
And then I have one, he's called Paddy. Paddy goes to Holyhat. He's very well known in Germany, doing lots of Irish folk music. And then I have Stina Tile. She lives in Ireland. She's a German living in Ireland, and she's doing Irish country and also folk music.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
So there's a big interest in Irish culture from Germany.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. I think you can see it in the tourism that lots of people traveling to Ireland and taking the holidays there. And I think that is much growing. I've seen that during the last 3 years, because normally when I'm over, I really do not go to the tourism spots. As I know lots of local people, I ask them, where is it nice and where are no tourism?
Okay.
So, but also on these spots, you see now German people a lot. So
yeah, I think the Germans are well known for looking for the non-touristy spots.
Yeah,
and they find them. I think they find them.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the format of the actual masterclass then?
Yeah, so we won't do that on YouTube or Facebook. We will do it on a webinar page, so it's closed just to the attendees. So you will get a link about 1 week before the event, and on each masterclass, the master blender or distillery owner will be with me on the stream, and we will doing a kind of an interview, but people are also, of course, able to ask questions. And yeah.
Excellent. I'm just showing a few pictures here of your travels around. You covered some mileage anyway, but I think, building up that personal relationship with the distilleries is so important, both in terms of trust and getting to understand their brand. Is that something that's challenging for you, or are you happy?
No, I like to do that because this is something what's making fun, because I think in the business of whiskey, it's very important to have these relations and to have very good connections with working with each other.
Yeah.
I think that's very important, and you just need to have good business relation.
Yeah, and the fact that they're partaking as well. I mean, there's no better person to represent the brand than the owner and the distiller.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
And will they be revealing new releases? Will they be giving insights into what their plans are? Presumably they will.
Yes, of course, and we will have some really cool releases. Just before the weekend, we have a JJ Corey release with a whiskey which I have made last year, and
well, there you are. Yourself and Louise.
Yeah.
Good to see Louise doing some work.
Yeah.
No, she's very hands-on.
Yeah,
she is very hands-on. So
and this special bottling will be just available for the attendees, because it's a very, very limited edition from JJ Corey.
What is it? Or can you tell us?
Yeah, because we just got about 80 bottles or something. So very small amount.
Yeah.
So I decided that this will be exclusively go to the attendees of the Irish Whiskey Weekend.
Very good.
Yeah. And then we will have from Powerscourt a single cask bottling, which is also very cool because it's just the second single cask bottling they are doing. And it will be an 18-year single malt finished in muscatel casks.
Very good.
Very good. This was the one which I really wanted to choose by myself in the warehouse.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that couldn't.
Oh, that didn't happen.
So yeah. So
and is that a cask strength?
Cask strength, yes.
Wow.
Of course.
Very good. Do you have any more details about pricing of these products, or?
The for Callan 18 will be about 125 euros, something like that, 130 euro.
Okay.
I don't have the exact price at the moment, and the JJ Corey will be about, I don't know the price at the moment. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it will be under 100 euro.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is the price of Irish whiskey an obstacle in Germany? Because in general, Irish whiskey tends to be more expensive than Scotch. Is that perceived as because it's better quality, or is there kind of some kind of backlash against the price?
Yeah. So the German people think that Irish whiskey is normally cheaper than Scotch whiskey.
Okay.
So this is also a big challenge I have to go here in Germany.
Yeah.
Because when we go with a single cask bottling, so an 18-year-old single cask bottling finished in muscatel cask for about 120 euros, I think that's a very, very fair price. That's not
absolutely
overpriced.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get Scotch single malt whiskies, or you got some years ago Scotch single malt whiskey for 70, 80 euros, something like that.
Yeah.
This is also changing because also the Scotch people do not have lots of casks from the old ones.
Yeah.
Of
course, Brexit may change that.
Sorry?
Brexit may change all that, of course,
also,
as well. So hopefully bring Irish more to the fore then, if that happens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talk about the prices there. I know you've got much lower taxes in Germany, and quite often, I hate to say it, I found Irish whiskey cheaper to buy in Germany and bring home rather than buy it here. You know, obviously if you're shipping, but if you walk into your off license here, you probably do save. But you know, there is a big discrepancy in the tax.
Yeah, we have the 2-sec Splendors card because of the high ABV. It's about 30 euros cheaper here in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah. And also we have special bottling for the weekend. I did one by myself.
This is your own private bottling now. And what did you call it?
So this one for the whiskey weekend, this is just called special bottling for the weekend. So this is not a
it's a single grain.
Brand. This is a single grain whiskey, and I really like the color. There's no color added. That's the color. And it's 3.5 years old. It's matured 1.5 year in a virgin oak cask and 2 years in an STR cask.
Okay.
And this has an ABV of 63.9%.
That's we talked about that earlier. Yeah, I mean that's it's going to knock the socks off people, I suppose, as well. But
no, it's very smooth. You can really drink it very good with this percentage, and it costs 46 euros.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that's good value.
Yeah.
And I presume it's sourced, obviously. Is it Great Northern?
Yeah, that's a Great Northern. But I have chosen the casks where they are matured, where the liquid is matured in.
Okay. And is that something you're planning to do? Is do more releases of your own in the future?
Yeah, I have 2 own brands. One is called Black Rock. So this was the one I started with. So I started with the Teeling single casks, and then there were some difficulties in getting single casks over with the labels I did before, because the distributor wanted also to have the Teeling labels. That was fine. Yeah. So from this one, it's 228 bottles.
Okay, yeah. So Brendan there is, and obviously, you know Brendan, you distribute his product there as well. So the cologne.
Here are the products.
Yes, yeah. Is that your full range there? Then I see you have some gin as well. Minky gin.
No, it's not the full range. It's just some bottles behind myself here.
Yeah, I have some of them over my shoulder. I didn't have enough room to put them all on.
Yeah.
But, so you're obviously you'd be doing the master classes. They're 45 minutes. Now 45 minutes each is not a lot of time when you're doing 4 whiskeys. You're going to have a tight schedule.
Yeah.
I think
we have, but I wanted to do it in two days, so that people have the possibility to join over the weekend. And you have to know, in Germany, the trade shows are different than in Ireland. So in Germany, you can go on a trade show the whole day, and you can go to the stand and taste what you like. And during this day, there are also so-called master classes, so tastings, where you have 4 samples, and they are also just being 45 minutes. Okay. So this is why the idea was to do 45 minutes, and we have these 15 minutes where we have a break, or it takes a bit longer, the session. That's also okay.
Yeah. Well, what's the biggest thing or the most important thing that the distilleries and the producers can do to help promote Irish whiskey in Germany?
Bringing out very good, very special releases, because the Germans really like it.
Yeah. So they like their cask strength and their limited editions and their single cask options.
Definitely they like. And I think what's also helping a lot is when the people are traveling over to Ireland and the distilleries are open and they can have a look. We found out that helped a lot during the last years, because when they then see the brand over here, they're like, oh, I was there, I visited it, I need a bottle, that was my holiday, that's something special. So yeah.
Is that something you might go into, Mareike? Is organized tours?
I've been often asked that.
I mean, you know Bianca, don't you? I think
I know
very well.
And I definitely would like to do it, but I don't have time to organize it.
Okay.
Because when I would organize it, I would definitely like to go over and do the tour by myself with the people.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I do not have the time to organize that everything by myself.
Yeah.
There are some ideas in the back, and there are some plans, but nothing where I can speak about at the moment.
Yeah, I can see Tina is here, and she's obviously you know Tina, I think, and she's an absolutely massive whiskey fan, and she would be here in Ireland I think Tina would live here if she had the chance. But of course, you've missed Whiskey Live, you've missed Belfast Live, you've missed Provine. What's the impact on that?
I think there are just these are all possibilities who have been missed for tasting whiskey. That's it. Yeah, and I think the Belfast Whiskey Week was organized awesome online. That was very good.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I hope that it could be live next year, and then I have checked already the dates so that I can fly over.
Yeah, well, let's hope. That I'm sure we'll be in a bit better situation then. Tell me about German whiskey.
German whiskey.
Yeah, does it exist? And what's their? Does it have the same technical specification, or is it vastly different?
So there is German whiskey, and there is getting more and more German whiskey on the market.
Yeah.
The problem is that a lot of those whiskey distilleries were schnapps distilleries. So schnapps is very common in Germany.
Yeah.
So you often have this schnapps note on the whiskey.
Really? Yeah.
So it's not really good distilled, but there are some distilleries here in Germany. They're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And but this is also something that has to be promoted a lot.
Yeah.
And the people also need to try it.
Yeah. I mean, when you're selling Irish whiskey in Germany, are you selling brand Ireland as part of that experience? Or is it the whiskey can stand on its own?
So as I like Ireland a lot, I think I'm also selling Ireland, but not that I'm focusing on. But when I'm talking about the whiskey, I'm also talking about the distillery.
Yeah.
I talk about the things that are happening there, the things which I did over there, and I often recommend getting over, visiting the distillery. Often I get
go from there.
The Irish whiskey through suitcases fact. I know that.
Yeah, I mean we
can meet in County Clare, Thomas. That's fine. We can meet at Louise. That I can organize.
Yeah, it's amazing because one of our largest export markets for the magazine is Germany as well, but the people that are into Irish whiskey in Germany are really into it.
Yeah,
and actually they're into the whiskey, but they're into Irish whiskey history. They're into visiting the distilleries. They know often a lot more than I would as well about a lot of the different whiskeys. Certainly,
yeah,
So not being able to travel over is certainly having an impact.
Yeah, definitely, because I think when we are talking about whiskey, we are always talking about the production, and we're talking about the distillery, and we are also talking about where the distillery is situated. So when I'm talking about Pierce Lyons, I'm always talking about the church. I'm always talking about what a great distillery it is, where it is located in Dublin. Or when I'm talking about Powerscourt, I'm telling, of course, go to the Powerscourt Gardens also, visit the waterfall, because this is awesome. This is great. Yeah. So lots of people tell me when I'm doing a tasting, I do it not very technical. I do it with my heart. I'm just talking. Yeah. So.
But I mean, your enthusiasm is infectious. It does come, and you talk to Thomas or Tina, they are really massive whiskey fans. I think Tina is crying out to be able to come over. But yeah. but it won't be long. Hopefully it won't be long. So, out of these tastings, out of the 11 that you have, is there any surprises from any of the distilleries? Are they providing any surprise releases?
Yeah, so at Clonakilty we have a Pelican beer finish, which is just going to the US. So I got some bottles. Pierce Lines, we will have the distillery edition on the tasting stand. From the Plex distillery, we got their first 2 new makes. We got the single malt and the single pot still new makes. So no one ever tasted before these new makes, and they are great. I have tasted them already, and these are very good new makes. And
there's new make in every pack, is there?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
We have from 2 stacks, we have the apricot brandy finish in the pack. Cologne has some 2 of their special bottlings. We have in 2 stacks and in Cologne 2 different new makes from Cologne, which are not GI conform. So very interesting things.
Yeah, so I can imagine. I can imagine from Brendan that it's highly unlikely to conform.
Yeah.
Tell me, actually, do Germans have a preference for blends, single malts, grains, or pot stills? What's their...
So they expect pot still whiskey from Irish whiskey when they know a bit more about Irish whiskey.
Okay.
Often people think that a single malt whiskey is better than a blended whiskey.
Yeah.
But I think it's nonsense, because blended whiskey is much harder to do. So these are the preferences. So I think when you are asking one who's just drinking a whiskey sometimes, and you ask him what is a good whiskey, he would say a 20-year-old Scotch single malt whiskey or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got to convince them on. When you do get them to try them, are they surprised by the variety of Irish whiskey and the depth of flavor? They're not, the notion of just smooth Irish whiskey, I suppose, is an obstacle in a sense as well.
Yeah. So I really like to do trade shows, and I really like people who are coming to my stand, and then I ask them, would you like to try a whiskey? And they're saying, no, I don't like Irish whiskey. And then I say, okay, that's fine, but what's the whiskey you like? And then I say, I don't know, any Scotch whiskey. And then I can say, okay, I have an Irish whiskey which might be similar to that or might be better. You can have a try. And then often they walk by and bought a bottle of it. And I really, really like these moments, because they're happening often. But unfortunately, I can't do that online. And that's very challenging this year.
Well, I mean, this is probably the only mechanism that you can actually do this is by doing an online tasting. So how many people are you expecting over the weekend?
Lots of people.
But there must be a limit to how many you can take as well.
So the limit would be the limit of people we can have on the same time would be about 250, 300.
Wow,
so
that's a lot.
That's a lot of people. So I think everybody who wants to join, they can join.
Yeah, and like you said, there's no issue with sending it outside Germany. And have you many Irish in Germany that come and visit you and order whiskies from you?
They are getting more.
Yeah.
Kevin is one of them. He's watching.
Yes. Yeah. I get confused by Kevin's middle name. Because it's almost a Greek middle name, if I'm not, Kevin O'Connell, but Seropino, I'll have to ask him when I catch up with him again. But yeah. Oh, she does, lad. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's the plan then going forward? This festival is something that you've worked very hard from. Is this something you plan on doing maybe more regularly?
So let's see how it will work this year.
Yeah.
And now everything is set up so that we can do it again next year.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't want to say yes, definitely I will do it. I can say that I will do it or not after the weekend.
Yeah. Is there a possibility that you do should the situation change soon, that you'd go live and do live version of it?
Might be an idea for the future. Yes, never say no.
Yeah, but the market is definitely growing, and you're definitely doing a fantastic job of promoting it. Everybody here knows you in Ireland. Every place I go.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, have you capacity to take on extra distilleries if anybody's looking to get a distribution in Germany?
So
have you capacity?
So this year definitely we won't add any new distillery.
Yeah.
We need to look how next year will work. But at the moment, I'm very happy with my portfolio I have, because we have very good whiskies on the portfolio. The gin market in Germany is so competitive, and it's such a hard market, so that I definitely focus on whiskey, but I really like also to distribute gin, and I hope that I can also do gin tastings next year again. Yeah. We did some very interesting gin live streams, and they were lots of fun. And yeah, so but this year I won't add any new products.
Yeah. What about cocktails, Irish whiskey and cocktails? Is that something that's starting to pick up in Germany? Is there any way of promoting Irish whiskey that way?
Yeah, cocktails is a big thing here in Germany, of course, but more in the bars, yeah, and they are closed now again. So what I did some cocktail live streams. I did one with Connor from Pierce, and it was very interesting. I think these easy doing cocktails are common, and of course Irish coffee.
Yeah, it's a big seller there. Still, Irish coffee is flying the flag for Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to hear of Scotch being used in Irish whiskey, but I have heard it cropping into an Irish whiskey and an Irish coffee in Germany before. But hopefully, that's not a regular occurrence. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
I see Barry online, and Ian is in the office above me. He does drones. And he's just put into Barry, who I don't think he realized he would know as well. What's your plans then going forward, Mareike? Or is it possible to make any now with what's happening?
So during the next weeks, I have some live streams. I did one. I've set up one for Saturday. I'm doing a Halloween stream.
Oh, very good.
And I will do blind tastings live online the first time. And I think that won't be lots of good whiskeys. I get them chosen from my assistant in the background. So I don't know what will happen. And then on Monday, I will have a live stream with Maurice from The Liberator. Okay. I'm really looking forward for this, because that's the last new product we added now this year, because we wanted to have him on the Irish Whiskey Weekend, and we have a very interesting tasting kit put together for the weekend. So I'm looking forward to that. And then after the Whiskey Weekend, I think we will do some interesting stuff online during December, because I think there is not really an opportunity to do something live, like a tasting or anything.
I mean, overall in Germany, is more whiskey consumed at home than it would be in bars?
I think the cheaper ones are really consumed in bars.
Right. Okay.
But as more expensive it's getting, they are more consumed at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I certainly noticed that you've been on quite a lot more streams and on a lot of shows, and you've been doing a fantastic job in promoting Irish whiskey as a whole. So I'm sure, it's great value, I think, those tastings, and should be great fun. And I'll have to pick out a couple there and see which ones. 2 days,
some people say the most interesting thing will be how I will look on Saturday night.
Oh, should I book that one? Learn lots of secrets then. And
so because my secret is that I can't drink a lot of alcohol. I'm getting drunk very fast. Yeah.
Well, it might make the weekend go faster.
Yeah.
So, well, look, thank you very much, Mareike, for coming on board. Thank you much for supporting us as well, and the great job you're doing on supporting all these distilleries and all the brands. You certainly provided an outlet for them. If anybody needs more information, your website is the best place.
Yeah, or contact me via Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, email. So maybe just to say, when someone wants to order tasting kits from another European country, please send me an email, because our shop does not cover it. And so it's the easiest way. Choose the things you like, send me an email with your full address, and then you don't have to do any more, just paying, and everything will be done then by us. Okay, excellent. All right. Well, look, I suppose one of the thing about the boxes then itself, are they nicely packaged and presented nicely? Is there anything you can show us, or? They will be in a box with 4 samples. It is printed with our logo, and then the Tuat glass will come in an extra box. Okay. Because, can we see the Tuat glass a little bit closer there? Oh, so it's color logo. Okay, that's unusual. Yeah, I didn't realize they do color as well on them. So yeah, I think that's the first one I've ever seen with the colored logo. But I like the colors of the logo, so I wanted to have them on the glass. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very nice. Okay, well, look, again, thank you very much. If anybody's interested, is there a timeline? Is there a minimum date that they have to order by? Yeah, so someone is asking to ship to Norway. That shouldn't be a problem. Just send me an email and then I can figure out, but it shouldn't be a problem. And so from ordering in Germany, the latest day would be 16th of November. And for all others would be great when we can have the order about the 11th of November, because maybe DHL will slow down a bit when everybody is in lockdown now, so that we just can be sure that everything will arrive in time. I just posted your email address there. So yeah, very good. I hope you don't get too flooded, but maybe that's a good thing as well. That would be great. Well, look, the very best of luck with it. I'll definitely be attending 1 or 2 of those myself, and look forward to seeing you when you come over. Like I said, every time we meet, there's something on. So we're at some trade show or Dingle Whiskey Bar, I think last time. Yeah, Dingle Whiskey Bar when Fianna did the tasting on Tuesday. Yeah. Yes. So hopefully all the bars will be open and we'll be able to travel, and maybe we'll go and visit a couple of distilleries together. Yes, of course. So look, thank you very much, everybody that's interested. The information's on your Facebook page, is on the website. So it'd be great to support. It's great for these distilleries that need support as well at this time, and a great way of supporting our exports to Germany. So Mareike, well done. Really admire the work you've done over there in Germany, all on your own, because it's been a massive achievement for one person. So thank you. You'll enjoy rest on the Monday morning. I hope as well. So okay, look, thank you very much. Good evening, and look after yourself. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's an interesting viewpoint of Irish whiskey from Germany, and it shows what one person, when they have the will and the enthusiasm for Irish whiskey, what they can do. So, look, I hope you enjoyed the show. We're back next week. Next week's a very special show. We'll have the announcement, the details, possibly Friday, but definitely by Monday. And as I said, it's a very exclusive show next week. And if you enjoyed the channel, please do follow us on YouTube and support our channel. And good evening. Take care. Thank you very much. Good night.